Right. At best, they delay Parliament in terms of getting clarity on an agreed plan, and at worst, they disguise attempts to stop Brexit. And indeed, it would be better if those members who want to go back on their manifestos and indeed stop Brexit were more explicit as to their intentions, because, as the Prime Minister, my right honourable friend, has repeatedly set out, there is only one way to stop no deal, and that is to secure a deal or to go back on the biggest vote in our democratic history. But let me just briefly turn in the remaining minutes that I have to the Leader of the Opposition's amendment, because in contradiction to the Shadow Trade Minister, who said of a customs policy it would give the EU power to decide our tariffs and quotas with third countries, we'd be forced to liberalise our market but have no reciprocal access to theirs. And it would leave the door open for a second referendum, that amendment, which is something his own front bench colleagues have said they oppose. Of course I go away.
I thank the right honourable gentleman. He's being very generous. Can he spell out to the House, and please don't refer to an article in the political declaration, what are these alternative arrangements to the backstop that the government wants to pursue with the EU?
So when I come on to, I've got 5 minutes left, and I will indeed go on to that point. Well, unlike my opposite number, I will take the interventions and I will come on to the outer arrangements, because they go to the heart of the amendment from the member for Altrincham and Sale West, which I'm coming on to. But before doing so, I just wanted to briefly, in the time available, touch on the amendments from the member for Beaconsfield and the member for Normanton, Pontefract and Castleford, because again, both of them in their remarks, and I don't for a minute question the principle and spirit in which those amendments are brought to the House, but the reality is they will have significant wider implications beyond Brexit. And that is not just, Mr. Speaker, my view, or indeed that of my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister. It's also the view of leading constitutional experts such as Philip Cowley and Vernon Bogdanor, the latter of whom said, and I quote, "The proposals have international as well as domestic implications." So I think the House needs to be careful as it looks at those amendments, at the lack of debate, the lack of clarity as to the policy, the lack of certainty as to the intent, as to what the consequences of those amendments will be. Because the danger, as my right honourable friend, the former Chief Whip, the member for the Forest of Dean, pointed out, they will act in essence as a Trojan horse against the intention that was pointed out. So I don't for a minute doubt the member for West Dorset when he says changing standing orders has precedent. Of course it does. But there's been no debate with the Procedure Committee. There's been no debate in this House to look at this. And the wider constitutional implications that have been referred to by leading experts in this field cannot simply be swept away in the short-term convenience of the moment. The amendment from my right honourable friend, the member for Meriden, again is one put forward with great principle, but she spoke of a simple vote on saying no to no deal. And the issue was really taken head-on by the member for Belfast North when he pointed out the practical effect of taking no deal off the table does not facilitate that intention. And I absolutely agree with the right honourable gentleman in that regard. And indeed, it's not just on the DUP benches that that view is held. Michael Barnier himself said on the 24th of January, "It is not enough to vote against the no deal. If no positive suggestions are put on the table, then we will be more or less bumpy or heading for the no deal on March 30th as in an accident." So the way that no deal is addressed is indeed by backing the deal of my right honourable friend. I know there has been much discussion on the proposal of the honourable member for North West Hampshire. And although it's not an amendment on the order paper today, it has given us many technical questions to consider, and we will seek the experts' views on this as we take this forward. But what is clear is that the spirit of goodwill on which that builds is one we will take forward as part of reaching the common ground that we need as a House. Of course I will.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've waited very, very, very patiently, but I've run out of patience. I would like the Secretary of State for leaving the EU to explain to this House what exactly the alternative arrangements are. Is straightforward question, and we are entitled to a straightforward answer.
So this will be part of the negotiation, and we will discuss in terms of the technical issues. But what is not in doubt, and it is a commitment shared by the Honourable Lady, when indeed she has criticised those on the benches opposite who, unlike the sister parties of the Labour movement in Northern Ireland, have not backed this deal, who have not reflected the will both of the Labour movement in the south and also that in the north. The fact is that they have walked away from the deal, even though the deal is the way of securing that, because the Prime Minister is clear, whatever is agreed, our steadfast commitment to ensuring that no hard border returns to Northern Ireland is a commitment my right honourable friend repeated today, and is one on which she is steadfast. Given that I've got just a minute left, Mr. Speaker, across Leave and Remain constituencies, Mr. Speaker, we hear the same overwhelming call for this House to get on with it. 17.4 million people did not vote for no deal, but they did vote to leave. Time is of the essence. Citizens and business want certainty. The EU wants clarity. The Prime Minister needs a mandate, and the House must therefore come together. It's time to act in the national interest. That is why the House should back the amendment from the member for Sale and Altrincham West.
I call the Leader of the Opposition, Jeremy Corbyn, to move Amendment A, which stands in his name.
I so move, Mr. Speaker, Amendment A.
The question is that the Amendment A, be made. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. Division! Clear the lobby! The question is that Amendment A be made. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. No. Tellers for the ayes, Nick Dakin and Thangham Debonair. Tellers for the noes, Wendy Morton and Ian Stewart. Lock the doors! Order! Order!
The ayes to the right, 296. The noes to the left, 327.
The ayes to the right, 296. The noes to the left, 327. So the noes have it, the noes have it. Unlock. Order. We now come to Amendment O. In the name of the Right Honourable Gentleman, the member for Ross, Skye and Lochaber, Mr Ian Blackford, the Right Honourable Gentleman to move his Amendment O formally.
Formally moved.
Thank you. The question is that the Amendment O, be made. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. No. Division! Clear the lobby.
I may as well go ahead. I may as well do it.
Order. The question is that Amendment O be made. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. No. Tellers for the ayes, Mrs Marion Fellows and Mr David Linden. Tellers for the noes, Wendy Morton and Ian Stewart. Order.
The ayes to the right were 39. The noes to the left were 327.
The ayes to the right, 39. The noes to the left, 327. So the noes have it, the noes have it. Unlock. Order. We now come to Amendment G. In the name of the Right Honourable and learned gentleman, the member for Beaconsfield, Mr. Dominic Grieve. To move. I'm grateful to the Right Honourable and learned gentleman for moving his amendment formally. The question is that Amendment G be made. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. No. Division! Clear the lobby! Order. The question is that Amendment G be made. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. Aye. Tellers for the ayes, Nick Dakin and Thangham Debonair. Tellers for the noes, Wendy Morton and Ian Stewart.
The ayes to the right, 301. The noes to the left, 321.
The ayes to the right, 301. The noes to the left, 321. So the noes have it. The noes have it. Unlock. Order. We now come to Amendment B, in the name of the Right Honourable Member for Normanton, Pontefract and Castleford, Yvette Cooper. Yvette Cooper to move the amendment formally. Thank you. The question is that Amendment B be made. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. No. Division! Clear the lobby. Sorry, Jim. Order. The question is that Amendment B be made. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. No. Tellers for the ayes, Nick Dakin and Thangham Debonair. Tellers for the noes, Wendy Morton and Ian Stewart. Lock the doors! Order.
The ayes to the right, 298. The noes to the left, 321.
The ayes to the right, 298. The noes to the left, 321. So the noes have it. The noes have it. Unlock. Order. We now come to Amendment J in the name of the Honourable Lady the Member for Leeds Central, Rachel Reeves. Rachel Reeves to move the amendment formally.
Formally.
Thank you. The question is that Amendment J be made. As many as have that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. Division! Clear the lobby! Order. The question is that Amendment J in the name of the Honourable Member for Leeds West be made. As many as have that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. Tellers for the ayes, Thangham Debonair and Nick Dakin. Tellers for the noes, Wendy Morton and Ian Stewart.
The ayes to the right, 290. The noes to the left, 322.
The ayes to the right, 290. The noes to the left, 322. So the noes have it. The noes have it. Unlock. Well, we now come to Amendment I, in the name of the Right Honourable Lady, the member for Meriden, Dame Caroline Spellman. Right Honourable Lady, to move the amendment formally.
Formally.
Thank you. The question is that Amendment I be made. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. No. Division! Clear the lobby. Order. The question is that Amendment I be made. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. No. Tellers for the ayes, Thangham Debonair and Nick Dakin. Tellers for the noes, Wendy Morton and Ian Stewart. the doors! Order! Order!
The ayes to the right, 318. The noes to the left, 310.
The ayes to the right, 318. The noes to the left, 310. So the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Unlock. Order. We now come to Amendment N in the name of the Honourable Gentleman, the member for Altrincham and Sale West, Sir Graham Brady. To move formally.
Formally, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. The question is that Amendment N be made. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. No. Division! Clear the lobby. Order. The question is that Amendment N be made. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. No. Tellers for the ayes, Craig Whitaker and Andrew Stevenson. Tellers for the noes, Thangham Debonair and Nick Dakin. Up the doors!
The ayes to the right, 317. The noes to the left, 301.
The ayes to the right, 317. The noes to the left, 301. So the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Unlocked. Order. The question is the main motion as amended. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. On a point of order, the point of order of the Prime Minister.
On a point of order, Mr. Speaker, a fortnight ago, this House clearly rejected the proposed withdrawal agreement and political declaration, with just 202 members voting in favour. Tonight, a majority of honourable members have said they would support a deal with changes to the backstop. Combined with measures to address concerns over Parliament's role in the negotiation of the future relationship and commitments on workers' rights in law where need be, it is now clear that there is a route that can secure a substantial and sustainable majority in this House for leaving the EU with a deal. We will now take this mandate forward and seek to obtain legally binding changes to withdrawal agreement that deal with concerns on the backstop while guaranteeing no return to a hard border between Northern Ireland and Ireland. And my colleagues and I will talk to the EU about how we address the House's views. As I said this afternoon, there is limited appetite for such a change in the EU, and negotiating it will not be easy. But in contrast to a fortnight ago, this House has made it clear what it needs to approve a withdrawal agreement. Many honourable members have said that the continuing protection of workers' rights after Brexit is something that needs to be strengthened. And my right honourable friend, the Secretary of State for Business, will intensify our work with honourable members from across the House and the trade unions this week. And my right honourable friend, the Secretary of State for exiting the European Union, will do the same on how we engage this House further in our approach to negotiating our future partnership with the EU. As well as making clear what changes it needs to approve the withdrawal agreement, the House has also reconfirmed its view that it does not want to leave the EU without a withdrawal agreement and future framework. I agree that we should not leave without a deal. However, simply opposing no deal is not enough to stop it. The government will now redouble its efforts to get a deal that this House can support. And to that end, I want to invite my right honourable friend, the member for Meriden, the honourable member for Birmingham Erdington, and all those that tabled amendments in opposition to no deal to discuss how we can deliver that by securing a deal. In light of the defeat of the right honourable member, the leader of the opposition's amendment, I again invite him to take up my offer of the meeting to see if we can find a way forward. Mr. Speaker, if this House can come together, we can deliver the decision the British people took in June 2016, restore faith in our democracy and get on with building a country that works for everyone. And as Prime Minister, I will work with members across the House to do just that.
The point of order, the Leader of the Opposition, Mr Jeremy Corbyn.
Because since we've had this debate and the House has emphatically voted to reject the no-deal option that the Prime Minister was supporting, could I say that we are prepared to meet her, to put forward the points of view from the Labour Party of the kind of agreement we want with the European Union to protect jobs, to protect living standards and to protect rights and conditions in this country. It's exactly the offer that was made last September, exactly the offer that was made 2 weeks ago, and I look forward to meeting the Prime Minister to set out those views to her on behalf of my party.
Point of order, Mr Ian Blackford.
Mr. Speaker, this House has spoken very...
Order. The Right Honourable Gentleman is the leader of the third party in this place, and he represents an important body of opinion. And as was exhorted earlier, people should treat opinions that differ from their own with respect. The Right Honourable Gentleman will be heard, however long it takes, and that's all there is to it. Mr. Ian Blackford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The House this evening has given an instruction to the Government that no deal must be taken off the table. I am flabbergasted, frankly, that the Prime Minister still seems to be in denial. And I ask what measures the Prime Minister will bring forward, what legislation she will bring forward to make sure that we remove that threat of no deal from legislation. Mr. Speaker, this is a sad day where the Prime Minister has had to admit that her deal doesn't have the support and that she's prepared now to try and pick away at the backstop. We were told that the backstop was there to protect the peace process, but tonight the Conservative Party has effectively ripped apart the Good Friday Agreement. This House, Mr. Speaker, should be ashamed of itself. The contempt shown by the United Kingdom Government right across these islands is stark. This Government, Westminster and the Tory Party has no respect for the devolved administration or for the other regions of the United Kingdom. Scotland has been silenced, sidelined and shafted by the Tories. Tonight, Mr. Speaker, the Conservative Party has ripped apart the Good Friday Agreement, an international treaty. You know, Mr. Speaker, this is serious because we are talking about a treaty which has delivered peace to the island of Ireland. Mr. Speaker, what they have done is they've reneged on the backstop and reneged on the Good Friday Agreement. Mr. Speaker, can you advise what mechanisms are open to this House to protect the rights of democratic rights of the devolved regions and nations, the Good Friday Agreement and the peace process that this Government are prepared to disregard?
Order. I will take the Right Honourable Gentleman's question as a rhetorical question rather than a substantive question. He knows that Parliament is here to debate and to vote, and the Right Honourable Gentleman is well familiar. I'm addressing the Right Honourable Gentleman. Perhaps do me the courtesy of listening to me. He has the mechanisms of the House available to him. Yes, I will take other points of order briefly. Point of order, Sir Vincent Cable.
Now that the House has given the Prime Minister contradictory instructions to have no deal but to pursue a course of action that will lead to no deal, will she return to the House tomorrow and give clearer indication about what these alternative arrangements actually are, which have been rejected at her own summit at Chequers, that now appear to be the basis of negotiation?
Well, I'm very grateful to the Right Honourable Gentleman for his point of order, but what I would say to him, and I know he'll take it in the right spirit, this is not Prime Minister's questions. Prime Minister's questions will take place tomorrow. I think if I understand correctly, the Right Honourable Gentleman was more concerned to make his point than to elicit a reply from the Prime Minister, and there is no reason for the Prime Minister to feel any need to reply tonight. The Right Honourable Gentleman has made his point. There will be ample opportunity for further exchanges, doubtless tomorrow and in many subsequent days. Yeah, I will come to the Honourable Lady, but point of order, Mr. Nigel Dodds.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Speaker. And can I just say, on behalf of, I know that we represent 10 seats in Northern Ireland, and the Honourable Lady behind me represents one, and there are others who represent a different point of view, but who refuse to take their seats in this House. But it is quite frankly outrageous, and I'm speaking on behalf, I believe, of both communities in Northern Ireland, to say that this vote tonight drives a coach and horses through the Good Friday Agreement. It does nothing of the sort. And it is utterly reckless to talk in those terms. Utterly reckless. Utterly reckless. The fact of the matter is that nobody in Northern Ireland, no political party, is advocating any kind of hard border in the island of Ireland. And we certainly do not advocate what others advocate, which is creating borders within the United Kingdom or ripping up the United Kingdom. Can I say, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, that this is a significant night because for the first time the House by a majority has expressed what deal, the sort of deal that will get through and will have a majority, and we will work with the Prime Minister to deliver the right deal for the United Kingdom.
I thank the right honourable gentleman for his point of order. Point of order, Liz Savile-Roberts.
When the woman holding the title of Prime Minister is driven solely by the ideal of holding the Tory party together, and the man known as the leader of the opposition will neither lead nor oppose, how do you advise we get the House back to working for the communities we are supposed to represent?
Well, again, if I may very politely say so, I think the honourable lady's point of order, although it contains what is ostensibly an inquiry, is a point of order in which he is making her point rather than seeking anything from me. The short answer to the honourable lady is, as I said a moment ago, there will be further debate. Members must speak and vote as they think fit. All of these matters will be thoroughly aired in the days and weeks to come, and I'm sure we all look forward to that. The honourable lady from her vantage point, and I from mine. Oh, very well. Point of order, Mr. Angus Brendan McNeill.
I hope you can advise, Mr. Speaker. The House seems to have got itself in a contradictory position. Firstly, it wants no deal. It wants no deal off the table. And secondly, it doesn't accept the deal that the European Union is putting forward. Is it not the case that the United Kingdom Parliament is not at the mercy of the European Union? Because if we are in a situation where we have no deal taken off the table and we're not accepting the deal they're offering, where do we go from here? You get a better deal.
The honourable gentleman may wish to offer the views that he's just expressed to the news outlets that operate in Anhelion and Yar, and I rather suspect that that is what he will want to do. Local newspapers and radio stations will doubtless be very interested in the views that the honourable gentleman wishes to express, but they're not matters of which I can treat now. The House has decided what it has decided. Well, the honourable gentleman is saying that these matters are in contradiction of each other or have to be weighed against each other, but of course it's not a matter for the chair to offer an exegesis to the House of the way in which it is voted. Members will make their own assessment, and we know what statute says, and we know what expressions of opinion have been recorded by the House today. And the honourable gentleman, although his brow is furrowed, he's a perspicacious fellow, and I'm sure he'll get his head around these matters in the hours, days and weeks to come. And we look forward to that with eager anticipation. If there are no further points of order, I think we do now come, colleagues, to motion 4, exiting the European Union, brackets, agriculture. The whip to move. Thank you. Thank you. The question is as on the order paper. As many as have that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. No. The ungrateful, thank you. The division is deferred until tomorrow. Motion number 5, exiting the European Union, environmental protection. The whip to move. I beg to move. Thank you. The question is as on the order paper. As most have that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Motion number 6, exiting the European Union, civil aviation. The whip to move. I beg to move. Thank you. The question is as on the order paper. As most have that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Motion number 7, radioactive substances. The whip to move. I beg to move. Thank you. The question is as on the order paper. As many as have that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. 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 The division is deferred. Motion 7 on radioactive substances. The division is deferred until tomorrow. Motion number 8, exiting the European Union, environmental protection. The whip to move. I beg to move. Thank you. The question is as on the order paper. As many as have that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Order. Petition. Jenny Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I rise to present this petition on behalf of over 500 students and staff from Darlington College in my constituency, who are demanding fair funding for further education. Mr. Speaker, colleges build communities. They help young people fulfil their potential, discover new talents and realise their ambitions. Colleges drive social mobility. They are the heart of local economic growth and provide the necessary workforce needed for local businesses to thrive. For many, they're a springboard towards a bright and prosperous future, but a recent calculation by the Institute for Fiscal Studies found that spending on further education has been cut in real terms by over £3 billion since 2010-11. Because of this, we're now seeing fewer teaching hours, cuts to student support and stagnant wages for teachers and support staff. This harms outcomes for students, reduces opportunities and is bad for the whole of my community. The petitioners therefore request that the House of Commons urges the Government to provide fair funding for further education and fair pay for college staff in the interests of student performance, educational outcomes and community prosperity.
Petition: levels of pay in further education.
Order. We come now to the adjournment. The whip to move.
I beg to move this House to now adjourn.
Thank you. The question is that this House do now adjourn. Layla Moran.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I am grateful to this House to allow me to raise the issue of the 1824 Vagrancy Act. This of all evenings when others out there might be forgiven to think we do nothing else than talk about Brexit. I've been campaigning to repeal the Vagrancy Act for well over a year now. In fact, my campaign began in response to a petition by Oxford University Students' Union, an Oxford-based homelessness campaign group